Shall we begin?
Football Feast.
I knew we was going to beat them clowns.
Oh, no!
Oh, well.
Fire away.
Hashtag Faith Radio.
Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Good morning.
PA and Charch.
I'm a kid, so I call it KFAN.
Oh, good.
Darnold back to pass on first and goal. Looks right, swings to the left. Josh Oliver wide open. Touchdown! The Minnesota Vikings have come to Los Angeles and streaked down the field on their first possession to take a 6-0 lead. 7-0 Minnesota. Stafford back to pass, throws to the end zone, caught, touchdown. It's a touchdown for the LA Rams, and it's Kyren Williams with his second receiving touchdown this year. He has 10 touchdowns on the season, and that score means Kyren Williams has scored in 10 consecutive games. Jones the single set. Brandon Powell getting a lot of run tonight, in motion to the left, getting a lot of run over Jalen Naylor, too. First and goal, Darnold, play action, excellent pocket again, throws left, caught, touchdown! Trent Sherfield Sr. with the two receivers left and right, Vikes rush 4. Stafford trying to get away from the pressure, and he does. Throws to the end zone, touchdown. Oh my God. There were two Vikings who had dead aim at Matthew Stafford, who leaves the field probably yelling something at Kevin O'Connell. That's not like super bad, but he was yelling at the Vikings bench. Stafford 2nd and 8 out of the shotgun, fade right to the end zone to Robinson, and he caught it. Touchdown LA Rams. Flag on the play. DeMarcus Robinson with an awesome catch. Front right of the end zone. If it sticks, that'll be his second touchdown this season. It is 3rd and 4 for the LA Rams as Stafford runs up to the rookie center and points to his right. Kyren Williams, his hands outstretched like he doesn't know what's happening. Stafford takes the snap. Bernard's trying to bear down on him. Stafford fires to the end zone. Caught DeMarcus Robinson, touchdown. And he was wide open. Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine, welcome to the Friday football. It's the feast of Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine, and let's make it a slump-busting Sunday night for the Minnesota Vikings. What do you say about all that? Welcome, Paul Allen, Paul Charchian, making up the Friday Football Feast. Nordo produces at FM 100.3 KFAN. The show is engineered by the impeccable stylings of one Jared Wells. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Madden and his street team over there. Round of applause. They're there to serve you. And in the sassy vein of a slump-busting Sunday night, Paul Charchian, the co-host of the Friday Football Feast. Damn, it got awfully quiet in here, didn't it?
Yeah, my name will do that.
Hey.
A sudden silence comes over the crowd.
Hold on. Friday Football. Now, Charchie has designated Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, and Sam Darnold as A or B level starters in this game against the team with the horseshoes on the helmets. So with those A and B designations, including Sam, the man on the fan, do you think we get the money on this slump-busting Sunday night? And why do you like those guys? And good morning.
It's got a lot harder with Joe Flacco, a quarterback from Anthony Richardson, who could have handed a win to the Vikings on any missed throw. So it's a little bit tighter now than it was before. But the Vikings have so much more talent on both sides of the ball. I want to believe that in the long run, the Vikings will end up winning this game if things just sort of play to form. And the return of T.J. Hawkinson is going to change a lot of things, Paul. You're gonna get passing production out of a position at which we really have had very little throughout the season. And I think this is an opportunity to finally see what this offense looks like with Jefferson, Jones, Darnold, Hawkinson, Addison, all on the field together.
Right.
We haven't had that yet this year. That is going to be great.
Jefferson, Jones, Addison, free three guy. Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine's excited for the emergence maybe of an MV3 at the football feast.
So many positive matchups on the field against a defense that honestly is not particularly good. And, Justin Jefferson, well, we can say that, right? I mean, I don't have to embellish anything.
No.
Pretend that this is a great defense.
Agreed.
It's not. Secondary is okay. Pass rush just okay. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for Sam Darnold, and they've given up over 312 yards to 3 straight passers.
Gee.
We can get Sam Darnold to 312 yards. I like this team's chances of winning.
Okay, now Jefferson, Jones, Sam, the man on the fan, A or B level starters, according to @Paul Charchian via Twitter. Follow him as 9 to noon does. Thank you. What about free three guy? What kind of game do you put Jordan Addison on?
Well, now that's fascinating because where does Addison mix in now that Hawkinson is going to be here? Let's say Hawkinson plays half the snaps. Does that feel reasonable?
Yeah, I think he'll play more.
More? Okay.
Yeah.
3/4 of the snaps. So let's put him on 30 snaps.
Let's put him on all the snaps.
Okay, all the time. All right. So he's on 45, 50, 55 snaps.
I
Okay.
put him on about 75% of the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to get him the ball in his hands a few times.
Okay.
He needs to feel contact. We need to get him into the rhythm of the game a little bit. Let's get back TJ Hawkinson some. Where do those targets come from? Right. Who's going to lose some targets for TJ to gain some targets?
What about free three guy? What are we going to do with him?
Does Addison, who hasn't had a lot of volume, does he continue to not get a ton? Or maybe if he is in fact a squeaky wheel, is he going to get some grease here? Addison's a good player.
Right.
We do need to manufacture more ways to get the ball into his hands, but the luxury of the Vikings offense is we got a lot of good players.
Yeah.
What we need is Jordan Addison to maximize the opportunities that do come his way.
The squeaky wheel getting the grease sure beats the alternative of greasing the wheels of noisy bad dreams like the last couple of games against I've been saying this during the course of the week. I mean, it plays into the conversation. The Lions offense is the best overall offense in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And when Stafford goes full strength with Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Kyron Williams, I ain't saying it's the best. But as Kevin O'Connell said early in the week, 9 to noon, when Stafford is on one and he has his full complement.
Yep, dangerous.
Matthew Stafford has some HOF to him. So
he does have HOF to him.
So that plays into it, but it's still, to get into the minutia and the details of certain things and the who, what, where, when, and why, yes, things need to get better. But the squeaky wheel getting the grease would be Jordan Addison. Greasing the wheels of a noisy bad dream would be the last two. So here come the Indianapolis Colts. And with the Colts in this particular game, with the Vikings having that extra time, it's given you a little bit of an extra time being the identity of fantasy football in this state, the upper Midwest, quite honestly, the universe. How did the last Thursday night work out for you with touchdowns to Josh Oliver and Trent Sherfield Sr. and DeMarcus Robinson gets 2?
Yeah, that's not what we were looking for at all.
Hey.
And then most people did not start Puka Nacua in their fantasy rosters.
Right.
We didn't know how much would he play. As it turned out, it was like almost every snap.
See, evenings like that, people wonder whether it's Underdog or it's Prize Picks or it's DraftKings or wherever you're spotting up. How do you put in the $5, $10, $15, $20 and house the $10,000? You're the one that sees DeMarcus Robinson scoring twice. I'm going to throw in Josh Oliver. And you know what? Trent Sherfield Sr., just in case.
You never know.
Then all of a sudden you run clear and you win it by many lengths. Chad Greenway will be here about 10 minutes from now. One of the great defensive players in the history of Vikings football. Chad Greenway around the corner. Alec Lewis from The Athletic in the final hour. A couple of games of note from over the weekend to close the opening segment. Lions at Green Bay Packers.
Now
I shared this on the radio the last couple of days or yesterday. It is ever since the Detroit Lions with Dan Campbell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, even before Laporta, when they started to get good, you can tell the first mandate behind the scenes is those guys wearing green and gold. I mean, they've obliterated and embarrassed us for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Now we can beat them. And not only are we going to beat them, we can punish them.
Yes.
So there's some punishing when they beat the Green Bay Packers. I think they beat the Packers this weekend. But nevertheless, Lieber, 9 to noon yesterday, brought up a pretty good point in that, as a Vikings fan, if you think you're going to beat the Indianapolis Colts and then potentially rattle off some victories at Jacksonville, at Tennessee, maybe at Chicago, Arizona here, we'll talk about that a little later. If you believe you're going to start winning some football games, I mean, it kind of behooves us to root for Green Bay in this game because we've beaten them. They have more losses than Detroit. You put Detroit on the second loss.
I don't know. I don't know, Paul.
I don't care. I'd rather just let the rest of the season play out, bury those mugs to the east, and deal with them later.
All right, I'm not giving up on winning the division, but the Lions are the best team in football.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to just give the Packers losses. So, not saying the Vikings can only run second, but I'd like to get Green Bay out of this thing. Jordan Love may not play. He's got a groin injury that he had to leave the game from last week.
Yeah.
They have a bye next week.
Yeah.
And so they may choose to rest him. Malik Willis would be your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
They went 2-0 when Malik Willis starts earlier in the year, week 2 and week 3, so
Yeah.
they can win with him.
Basically,
but they didn't play any team close to as good as the Lions are.
But it's kind of 3-0 for Malik. It's like 2.5 and 1 or 2.5 and 0 because he played. I mean, he played
a quarter last week.
It was just a quarter. I thought it was close to a half. Okay. Well, and Jordan Love's playing at least unless something changed yesterday. When he's interviewed by the media, he's playing the I don't need to practice and I can still play game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brian Branch, Terrion Arnold, Aleem McNeil. I wonder what they... Oh, really? It's that easy. You don't have to practice during the course of the week. You just roll out there and beat us. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a little different if you're a second-year player like Brian Branch as opposed to Jordan Love, your quarterback who's been in the system for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. So, it's apples and oranges, I think, a little bit. Jordan Love probably does not need to practice, or, Paul... It's all subterfuge.
Yeah, I think
doesn't practice all week.
Yeah.
And so everybody would assume he's not going to play, but he said he might play if he doesn't practice.
Right.
So they're trying to get the Lions to have to prep for 2 very different quarterbacks. What Malik Willis does under center is very uniquely Malik Willis. Mm-hmm. And so if you have to if you've got to defend both, practice for both all week for the Lions, it does change things up.
All right. Now, lastly, with games outside of our covenant, how does this hit your heart? Is it Dallas at Atlanta or Zimmer at Cousins?
It's Zimmer at Cousins, baby. Come on, Kirk. I don't know that
I'm glad the NFL flexed the Vikings to Sunday. They did us a solid so we can watch this bloodbath that's coming at noon on Sunday.
Falcons are going to win, by the way. I feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember Cousins' career high in passing yards.
Well, he just put up 506 like 3 weeks ago.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that had to be his career high.
Yeah.
Cousins is playing great.
Yeah.
Him against Zimmer. Now, Kirk doesn't seem like the kind of guy who carries revenge in his heart. Mm-hmm. But man, we know that relationship was not good. Mm-hmm. We know that it was that Zimmer barely spoke to him, didn't make time to him, didn't really play a part in his development.
Is Dallas's defense still kind of wounded?
Oh, very much
like Micah
Parsons.
He's still not playing.
Yeah, Lawrence. Yeah,
oh, wow.
not Lawrence.
Kendricks.
Kendricks.
Yeah,
and they got a defensive end as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Not going.
Randy Gregory.
Thank you, Randy Gregory.
No, just kidding.
No,
Too Tall Jones.
No.
Well, you got Trayvon Diggs yelling at TV guys. It's like all Hobie Artigue's doing is trying to get a question across, and Trayvon Diggs is tearing him up.
Yep. So
they've gone pear-shaped.
They have a little bit. The defense has struggled a lot. Offense has been bad for Dallas, Paul, because they can't run the ball. They don't have a functional runner on that team.
What do you mean? Dalvin's active.
I know. Like I said,
it's
been a great career for Dalvin.
Dalvin was active. Did he get many carries?
3.
How'd he look?
I think he 1 yard to carry, 2 yard to carry.
He's no Rico Dowdle.
Which is sad. It's come to this for Dalvin Cook.
What the hell is Rico Dowdle?
He's not Rico Dowdle.
I know.
His offense, they become one-dimensional.
Yeah.
The passing game is, it's whatever CeeDee Lamb gives you, and they've got a variety of other guys that chip in a little bit of help, but not much.
Well, hey, y'all. Happy Friday. Hopefully Halloween worked out well for you and the kiddos last evening. And courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on Deck 9 to noon includes the game changer, Chad Greenway. He has arrived. He'll be on next segment for the next couple of segments. Alec Lewis from The Athletic at 11 o'clock. We love our beloved YA. And the fantasy football feast commences at about 10:35. It's Paul Charchian, and I'm Paul Allen. We are at Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine for the Friday football feast on KFAN. Your cash thing later.
The Fan, along with two men in a junk truck. They want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. The keyword is cash. Use the keyword cash at KFAN.com. You might win $1,000. The keyword cash at KFAN.com. Feast returns in moments.
Football Feast.
Hold on to your butt.
Yeah! I love it, baby! Woo!
We're happy for you.
You homer!
Ladies and gentlemen, from the fighting city of Mount Vernon, Iowa, by way of Iowa City, and now Minnesota, also courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Bourbon, we welcome Chad Greenway, the tackling machine from back in the day. He would find ways to eliminate the greasing the wheels of noisy bad dreams.
Nice throw.
Well, yeah, he's an athlete.
Can I just say
that shouldn't surprise you?
Mount Vernon, South Dakota.
Thank you. All right, 3-2 by way of Mount Vernon, South Dakota.
Hey.
You got to clarify which state it's in?
No, I messed up. Iowa City, Illinois, and with the money give, with the cash thing that we execute. Damn, man, now everybody's all wide-eyed and crazy and hyper. With that cash thing Nordo just did about 7 minutes ago, the keyword was cash, which kind of triggered my thought process to be like, damn, man, we miss Cashy. Blake Cashman, man, we're missing Cashy badly, and he hasn't practiced 2 consecutive days, which means playing Sunday night seems to be a long shot to me. And Paul Charchian put together something interesting in the Tolstoy. I think it was framed up. The not having Blake Cashman and the impact has been remarkable. Take it away from there, and good morning.
Well, with all the new parts in this defense, and the defense was surging through that first 5 games, well, especially 4 games, and we were trying to figure out what was working so well, and we identified a lot of things, and Blake Cashman was in the conversation then. But you don't always realize how important somebody is until they're gone.
Right.
I took this off Twitter, so I apologize that I don't remember where I got this. Defensive EPA, which is basically like how many points are you yielding on every play. The Vikings through weeks 1 through 5 with Blake Cashman ranked number 1 in the NFL. Since he's left, the team is 28th.
Wow.
In the NFL. That is a pretty big drop, and he's really the only guy who's missed time over that full stretch.
Yeah, I think when you look at the factors also of just having more time to study the film of what we're doing, like, is Flores becoming more predictable? Is that part of it? Because you get a little more, a few more weeks to look at the film, to look at what they're doing. Can they now diagnose what he's doing over the course of a game and third down and second down? So self-scouting becomes really important. And then self-scouting into the bye. Like, they should be watching all their games back, which I'm sure they obviously did, to say, hey, what tells do we have?
Yeah.
And how do we get better from that? But the reality is when you take a key piece out of a defense, it can make things different. And he was playing very, very good, and you didn't know until you start to see numbers. And we all know stats don't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
But that stat is pretty telling that when you take that piece out, a guy who I don't think was getting enough credit, I don't think he ever got enough credit in his career so far to this point.
Right.
Now he comes home, is playing his best football.
Nobody ever played him as much as he's playing here.
Yeah, well, I think again, it goes back to the Thielen effect. It's just about opportunities. There's good players everywhere. It's about being in the right system and getting the right opportunity with the right people around you. And obviously what Blake does well, have we seen this guy? Blake Cashman's like the perfect human being. I mean, he's huge, strong, fast. He's got it all. And he's one of us, which is fun.
That is nice.
And so, I mean, his not having him, clearly plays a toll on our defense.
Yeah, it's really hurt. And, you look at the pass rush, which has really languished these past couple of games. They had 3 quarterback pressures the entire game. Pressures, no sacks, last week. I don't know that Blake, is there a way that a middle linebacker affects pass rush and pass rush effectiveness?
Well, I'm supposed to be the expert on this. And
right. Yeah, you really should know.
But I think here's the one thing you have to think about is what are we allowed to do schematically because we have Blake?
Yeah.
Does that offer us more versatility? That does offer us more opportunities to get into more pressures or do things differently? And when you don't have your perfect personnel that you've been running and using, are you not able to get pressures in creative ways because of blitzes?
Right.
Or are we getting stowed up on the ends? Like, what are we just being blocked? Are we playing better offensive lines?
Right.
We obviously play the Lions as one of the best teams in football. When you go out west and play a team that is now healthy in the Rams and have a receiving core that's really, really good, and people kind of forgot about, that's right, they have these guys. So it's not lost in the fact that this is the NFL, and I don't care if you're going to a 2-4 or 5 team, whatever the Rams were, they're really good with really good players who won a Super Bowl not too long ago, and you have to remember that.
Yeah, and I think mentally, we wanted to believe we were going to see the same Rams team that the other teams of the division got the luxury of playing.
We didn't,
right? I mean, the Packers, the Lions got half a game out of Cooper Kupp, and they got in the season opener, and that was it before Kupp went out, or was it Puka? I think Puka went out right away. Kupp went out the next week. Green Bay didn't have to face either one.
Yeah.
Chicago didn't have to face either one.
It's a completely different team.
And then, we show up and bang, they're both back.
They're all healthy.
And they're doing exactly what they do.
I'm pretty sure 2 weeks ago I saw Stafford to Minnesota, whisper, and all of a sudden now they're back and they're going to have a season, and they're going to be hard to beat now going down the stretch.
The Vikings have had some bad timing with, as you know, it's not only is it who you play, it's when you play them.
Yeah.
Week 3, Vikings got Houston with Nico Collins, who hasn't played since.
Yep.
Right? Packers avoided him. Then the Lions avoided Nico Collins. Week 4, we play the Packers. Who comes back? Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps it interesting. We didn't get to see Malik Willis like the previous 2 teams did.
Mm-hmm.
Then week 8, the Rams get Puka and Cooper Kupp back. The rest of the division missed them. And then week 9, this week, we're going to miss Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
We're going to get Joe Flacco.
Yeah, this is and while I agree wholeheartedly that beating the Indianapolis Colts led by Joe Flacco is harder than Anthony Richardson, I can't remember. Maybe we got to go back maybe to 2009. Brett Favre and whatever age he was then, that there have been so many bouquets thrown at, or so much analysis that truly makes sense about a 39-year-old quarterback in his 17th year who has started 2 games this year, can't move, doesn't want to move. Old people don't like to get hit either, so he throws it away quickly if the rush is coming. But seriously, the reverence and respect for Joe Flacco is noteworthy. It's also deserved. But he is 39 years old in a road game that's nationally televised with a loud crowd.
Yeah, he'll be ready for bed by that time, won't he?
Right.
I mean, I'm ready for bed.
I think those teeth out in the third quarter.
When you put the ring on the finger, like Flacco has a ring.
Right.
I mean, you become anointed as a Super Bowl champion.
13 years ago.
He's had some great seasons, and I think the magic he sort of brought to Cleveland last year is sort of what people are remembering.
Right.
And again, he's going to infuse a different system, different plays, different opportunities for this run game to get going from Indy because this play action passing ability. It's going to be a little bit of what we've seen against the Lions, which I think will be what Goff did so well against us.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that Rams game just for that. To me, was the biggest talker other than the receivers getting healthy was our inability to be clean on third down, to keep giving them first downs when we were off the field.
Penalties too.
I mean, that when you go into a football game, it's turnovers, it's red zone, and it's can we get off the field on third down? And we kept getting off, and then, oh, by the way, holding. Oh, by the way, encroachment. Oh, by the way, pass interference. And all of a sudden, first down, and the way they go, touchdown. And that was the game, especially in that first half when we could have pulled away and created some separation. We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot.
We haven't seen you in forever. Oh, yeah, why?
I look good, right?
Oh, you look great all the time. Haircut's fresh. You're having a nice
This morning,
Yeah, you're having a nice tricep day.
It's 9 a.m. How'd you already have a haircut?
6:30 a.m. Barber's in.
We haven't seen you in a month. Where you been?
Do you use the Flowbee at home? Is that how this works?
The Flowbee's a good idea, though. I been taking a couple trips with the family.
Okay.
Last couple weekends, looking around at some schools. The oldest daughter. So yeah, that's been what we've been doing.
So let me guess, you've been to Palo Alto, Brentwood, somewhere in North Carolina, Lexington, or somewhere in Kentucky, Iowa City, and somewhere in South Carolina.
Yeah, you can't hide.
That's a heck of a tour.
That's a heck of a tour.
That's
we've been
not bad,
around,
man.
Yeah, we've been around.
But I've been excited or not excited. I've been just wondering from your elite linebacking mind opinion standpoint, with the Vikings defense, okay, Cashy goes down. And there are some things that are reminiscent of 2022, where the middle of the field has become open all night, and it's the area, it's the intermediate. It's between the linebackers and the safety / DBs on the drop, and I mean that's just like off what Charch said. That has to be partially a Cashy thing, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think, look at the teams we've also played. I mean, I still keep saying that. It's when you play them.
Yep.
It's who they have for availability. Two of the best intermediate route runners in the NFL we just played.
Yep.
You come off of playing Jared Goff, who is the best, probably the MVP right now, one of them for sure.
I think he should be in the conversation. Most of the world right now thinks it's Lamar Jackson,
but
he's the betting line favorite by a mile.
He's in the conversation. And
Goff is in the conversation.
And his ability to run play action passes in the intermediate route is what they also do extremely well. He's, I would argue, is the best at that in the league right now. And their ability to marry up run to pass and get those 15 to 20 yards over the linebackers. So what do you do schematically?
Yeah.
What do you do defensively? And it's about, you have to have tells early, pre-snap, to understand what am I going to get out of these different sets and what are the looks I'm going to have. How can I guarantee run pass? Because if they're play action passes and deeper drops, intermediate routes, there's tells out there to give these guys, say, you know what, I'm not going to bite 2, 3, 4 steps and see that action. I'm going to put my foot in the ground and gain depth. I'm going to set my DBs a little tighter to line of scrimmage, protect myself over the top with maybe my deep safety, but just have a mindset of where are we getting beat. And at the end of the day, pass rush is everything. And if you make a team play run first into a pass rush, I mean, that's the advantage of play action pass, obviously. So we have to be able to convert quicker from run to pass and get to the quarterback so they can't get to those 15-yard ends that take some time. And we just have to convert our eyes quicker and have better pre-snap. And it's going to be, I don't think it's a schematic issue as much as can we go study ourselves into better situations and then go play.
Well, that's beautiful. And I think it requires more unpacking. Consider this. So back Monday, Cam Bynum joins Dan Barrero each and every Monday on Bumper to Bumper.
He's very good, by the way.
Very good. And I listen to it every week. And Cameron, this week, you know, I don't know if Flores has said this publicly, but it was fascinating the way Cam laid it out. He's like, Brian is telling us the free runs to the quarterback are done.
Yep.
Okay, that's done. And so therefore now routes to rushing the quarterback, okay? Because finding new ways to hit the quarterback after 7 games, consider this. The defense has faced 441 plays through 7 games, which includes 289 pass attempts of that 441. Meanwhile, the Vikings have run 190 passes, 189 runs. The Vikings have run 162 fewer plays than the opposition. That's like 20 a game.
Wow, that catches up with you fast.
Yeah, right. But I mean, like when you're blowing somebody out, you know, then they're gonna throw more. You're gonna run more. So there's context to that. But through 441 plays, and well over 50% are pass attempts against the Vikings, and young Cameron sharing, the defensive coordinator, saying the days of just like blindly crushing these quarterbacks are done. Well, then how do you get there?
Well, I think the one thing I wanted to add on to what I just said about that intermediate route disruption in the middle of the field is you have to be able to, within those 5 yards legally, is disrupt timing. So hands-on receivers, slot guys got to get bumped off their line, because when you're thinking about a quarterback who's got his head down backwards with the play action, right, feeding that run, selling it, and his eyes get turned back, and if all of a sudden the timing now, he's not quite there, he's a step or two behind, that's what disrupts that. Now he's going to a second and third look, then it allows our pass rush to get there. So that has to all get married up. But what you can do is you have to get to either add on blitzing, and you have to have guys that can win.
Add on blitzing?
Add on. When you're playing man-to-man coverage and you get a tight end and or running back staying in and play action pass, that's my guy in coverage. I need to go add on and go get a blitz, go get extra pressure, because he's going to stay in the block until he knows he can release without you taking off the quarterback's head.
And you have to make that call in your head in like 1 second, right?
Yeah, because
immediately
that running back's read or the tight end's read, if he's staying in the block in a three or four man route, is saying, I'm going to sit until I know he's not coming, and then I'm going to go out into my little player route or a little hitch route, an option route you might have. Same thing from the running back and the linebackers when you're going to go up against those guys. So, again, acknowledging that it's pass, getting to the quarterback, and then just taking the guy and just taking a step and going. But also, your front four have to get after it and win. At the end of the day, you have to have guys that can win. You watched the Texans game last night. Danielle Hunter, I'm not sure if they're still leading the league in pressures, but there's just always somebody around the quarterback. There's always disruption. There's always a quarterback that moves to his right, move to his left, take a step forward to make a throw. We got to be able to do it with our front four. You cannot rely on blitzing all the time. These guys are too good, and they're going to pick up the protection.
Beautifully laid out.
You talked about penalties, and this has been it's a recurring problem for this team this year. Penalties.
Yeah.
Where on the continuum? Who's more at fault? The players who are committing these penalties, or the coaching that is, I don't know, letting that happen? I mean, is this, can you coach it out of because there are some coaches that just don't get a lot of penalties.
Yeah, but I would say the pre-snap penalties, the motion, the little things can be coached out. The things that you practice and you really take care of in practice, and you hold guys accountable, and you say, we're not going to play if you can't figure this out, go get it right. But the reactionary penalties is hard because I'm playing. I don't know what this guy's going to do. I'm reacting, and all of a sudden I throw my hand out. It gets caught up in the jersey, and it looks like it tugs. My intent was just to jam him, but my hand gets caught in it, and there's a little tug against some of the best receivers in the world last weekend, and they got 3 or 4 calls that really hurt us. And it's hard to coach that out of it. Now, you bring referees to practice. You bring these guys in to get them practicing against live reps, and then you actually throw the flags to say, hey, hands on, get them off. And just be mindful of that and have a mindset, which obviously they're doing because they're watching the tape knowing that affected the outcome of that game last week. And
for sure.
And listen, you lose to Detroit, you lose to the Rams, 3-game skid is tough to come back from. You need to stop it now. Home game, night game, winnable game. You got to come and play good football, and we got to get this thing turned right now.
The Indianapolis Colts, there are still a fair amount of people on the team who were part of the squad a couple of years ago when they were up 33-0 at halftime. Vikings come out of halftime, by the way, in sneaky fashion and go 3 and out. So, I mean, it just come out of halftime.
I'd forgotten about that.
Wild. Yeah, and 10% of the stadium had departed. How about that? I mean, the percentages of winning games, forget the 33-0. When the opposition has a pick 6, Julian Blackmon, a blocked punt for a touchdown. I think it was some Wisconsin beef-eating linebacker who scooped it and got in. I mean, the percent chance that you win in situations like that is about 93.5.
Yep.
So
it's got to be higher than that.
Yeah, probably 97.6.
It's got to be 99 point something.
And that's without the 33 rip.
And that's without the 33-0. But for the Vikings and Colts this game, and the fact that there are some Colts who were on that team, including Michael Pittman, Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson, by the way,
Hall of Fame.
Well, guard immortality. He's fallen off a little bit. I mean, he's a lot more grabby from what I understand. He has 8 penalties already and 6 false starts. So
wow.
When I say fallen off, I mean from an A+ to like an A+ lowercase t on the plus.
He's got equity.
Right. Their left tackle, I don't think he's going to play concussion protocol, something called Raymond Ryman. Ryan Kelly, you played against Ryan Kelly, I think, that the center from Alabama. So their line is squared away. I like their right tackle, Braden Smith. But they Charch probably knows more about it than me because he follows the offensive wherewithal of all the teams. But like Josh Downs, Alec Pierce is fast. Pittman has rejuvenated his career the last couple of years. And then you got Jonathan Taylor. I like how they use Trey Sermon. I like how they use their third back, Goodson. Rookie Adonai Mitchell, second-round Texas, threw a pass to him, went for 24 yards. that their offense has a little sneaky to it, doesn't it?
It does, and get to know Josh Downs, by the way.
Yep.
If people don't realize that he is their go-to receiver. He's their best receiver.
Wow.
And he has been
over Pittman.
Yep. And
Wow.
he has been awesome in the Joe Flacco starts. We've seen him post some big games. He runs from the slot. Where are the Vikings getting murdered?
Yep.
The slot. And this is going to be very tricky. Look at what Cooper Kupp did to the Vikings last week. Before that, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jaden Reed had like 120 yards. Deebo Samuel roasted us from the slot. This is the big matchup for their entire offense. It's Josh Downs against the Vikings defense and what we do in the slot. And what we do in the slot is a lot of different things. Sometimes it's Byron Murphy. Sometimes it's Josh Metellus. We roll a lot of different looks. Sometimes it's a linebacker. But in totality, it's not working.
Yep.
And slot receivers that are pretty good are getting it done. And Josh Downs, quietly, he's their go-to guy.
Well,
that's going to be a matchup to watch.
And when you think slot receivers, you generally think the higher percentage will be the middle-ish of the field.
Yep.
Off what we talked about earlier. Now, when I watch back the last couple of games and not knowing what the plays are, not knowing if safeties, corners, other linebacker guy are taking L's by being in the wrong spot. This is with all due respect. There are a lot of completed passes in the neighborhood of Ivan Pace Jr.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And a lot. And Byron Murphy Jr. has been picked on for about 3 games. He's come through somewhat after being picked on, but I think that really, really needs to improve. But now, second-year undrafted guy whose pass coverage last year, from what I understand, was pretty good. Without Cashman, with Ivan Pace Jr., it just seems like they're identifying something around him, and it's working at a very high percentage.
And I think what you see is a guy who loves to play downhill. He's really instinctive and intuitive, and he's made a lot of great plays.
Yeah,
so
sure.
you can't take his ball, his playmaking ability away from him, but at the same time, he has to acknowledge how he's being attacked and why he's being attacked, and then find a way to get better. And that's going to come down to coaches pointing it out, and then him, at this point with Cashman out, like, we're not looking anywhere else. It's on you. And then put him in the best situation of things that he does well as often as we can. But I think at the end of the day, he's got to go play those plays differently, and he can't be so aggressive downhill when he's unsure. He has to make sure to take care of where we're getting beat the most right now.
Just to elaborate, and I'm speculating here, high-end coordinators and offensive minds like Ben Johnson and Sean McVay, they're seeing somebody take a couple of steps and then, I'm athletic, I can get back there. And they're like, okay, well, sure, but not against these guys, you can't.
Yep.
It's just little tiny tells like that, right?
Yeah, and that's why disruption in the slot, the disruption to get behind Ivan Pace has to be different. The timing has to be thrown off. It can't all be on one guy. You have to count on your guys outside to disrupt that route, disrupt the timing. Because at the end of the day, he does have to play the run. Because the Colts can run the football pretty well. So we got to make sure we're getting downhill.
Jonathan Taylor.
And securing that. So, like, he's in a bind. That's what's hard about linebacking, is understanding. So he has to do a better job of film study to understand why am I getting attacked and when. What are some tells that I can take where I can be right more often, a step or two quicker, and get more depth and not have something caught behind me.
You're listening to the Friday Football Feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine on your home for Vikings football, KFAN.
Oh, good.
Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine and Fuego. It's on fire with a wonderful crowd. Hoping Sunday is a slump-busting Sunday night for the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Pre-game at 5 on KFAN. Boom, about 7:20, FM 100.3, KFAN. We also have the Gophers this weekend taking on Wobbles Illini as 3-point favorites in a road contest. Red Hot Wild, 11 points from 14 possible on a 7-game road bender. They're back home taking on St. Louis this evening. That's going to be a cool one. And the Timberwolves are hosting the Denver Nuggets tonight. So that is a little
budding rivalry right there.
Well,
yes.
Who's the bigger rival? Denver or Dallas?
Well, it's becoming Dallas.
It is, isn't it?
I think it was Denver there for a minute because they played each other like 20 times in the course of 5 months or something.
Yeah.
But but Dallas is taking pleasure in beating the Minnesota Timberwolves. I ain't caring. I'm not kidding you. Like when Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, okay? Now, they played at Utah on Monday night. Okay, it's 83% the last 2 years. One of them sits out the next game for the super special load management bit. Kyrie played 36 minutes.
Yeah.
At Utah. No, not against no. That guy was getting all the shine from the Olympics. That guy was getting all the shine during the postseason. No. We're not taking this one off. Oh, we hear they made a trade where, the perimeter guys now, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and Dante DiVincenzo, better defense against us. Okay, watch this.
Yeah.
They just take joy in playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, even in like the fourth game of the season. So that's developing. I had Finchy on yesterday, and I led with that. Like, yeah, you and the Mavs got a little something going here, right? This is becoming a really cool Western Conference rivalry.
And Doncic is such a grade A whiner. He's so easy to dislike.
Yes, he is.
Because he's great. And man, you hate all the BS all the gyrations, all the complaining, and he's easy to hate.
But the shot making of those two specifically,
that 3-pointer at the end was
incredible, and the way they use their bigs and how hard they are to defend, as athletic and young as those bigs are, that's really the kryptonite. I think what our really good defense last year, obviously you saw in the playoffs. But those two, the shot making is unfair almost. But that's going to be the Western Conference is no joke.
Right. And the Timberwolves are right in the thick of it with a chance to go to the Western Conference finals, certainly, but maybe the NBA title series, and we'll see. So the Nuggets are at Target Center this evening with the Colts at U.S. Bank Stadium on Sunday night. Is there any concern with either one of you that the Vikings topped out? Okay, so you blow out Houston. What you did to Green Bay in the first half of the game at Lambeau should be a felony in 48 states. But then in the second half, Love, LaFleur, and that group, they found something. And then the Jets found something different with ways to defend Darnold, specifically when Jones is out of the game. And then you move on and you lose the next two. So it is a regression to the mean. I don't know what the mean would be from 5-2, but regression to some form of mean. Is that taking place? Has it taken place? And has it taken place? And now maybe is there an ascension on the horizon?
The hard part about that is this team has been really, really good or really, really bad. So where's the mean? I mean, it feels like we're not in the middle. You go handle great teams, San Francisco, Houston, the Giants, they're not great teams, but you handle these teams in such dominating fashion, and then the meter goes the whole other side. We don't know what the middle, I don't feel like we know what the middle looks like on this team. Where's the mean? I don't know how to regress to it when our defense is either the best in the league or the worst in the league. And it's, on a half by half or game by game basis. So I feel like it's really, really hard to get a feel for what we've really got here. And again, because it's all been so full tilt or totally rancid.
Well, can we get a healthy Aaron Jones? Can we get a healthy TJ Hawkinson? Yeah. And that will, to me, impact offensively our ability to make plays in the middle of the field, get back to controlling the run game, which was happening early on. Aaron Jones, put the ball in his hands as much as you can. Left tackle obviously now becomes a massive problem. We'll see if that's rectified or not. There's a reason they want to unload him as a left tackle, and now he's here. How soon can he play, etc. Defensively, our ability to make plays, create turnovers, and then turn them into points. The Van Ginkel thing, scoring twice. I mean, playing downhill, making big plays, causing turnovers. That's cyclical in this league. It just seems to come and go with good teams and bad teams. And I think if you can get back on that train, you can't rely upon that. Check my Iowa Hawkeyes for a couple of those games. You can't win by scoring points defensively, but you need those exciting plays because we just talked about it. Score on defense, score on special teams, your chances to win go up dramatically. But you can't rely upon them to be the guarantee. You have to get stops on third down, quit holding people, get off the field.
So you mentioned the left tackle situation, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the personnel staff trade for Cam Robinson, a 91-game starter. I think he started 7 this year. He had a concussion and was in protocol, was questionable all week. They made him active in the most recent game against Green Bay, but didn't start him. I'm not necessarily sure that is a benching or we know we're going to trade you, so we don't want to put you out there and have something go wrong.
That's exactly what it is.
Nevertheless, he didn't play, okay? But he was in uniform. First time in the young man's career, he's been in uniform and not played. All right, so now you get Cam Robinson with all those starts. Some in and out to his game. We'll discuss that momentarily. You don't give up much. It's meager compensation. Oh, by the way, of the 9 and change, we need you to pay $7.
Yeah, how about that?
No, this is too good to be true.
Wow.
So that there's something here that nobody knows. I mean, whether it's some type of injury situation that the Vikings would know about because you have to be complicit, you have to comply per the league rules.
Right, and he's got to pass the physical.
Right, so everything like my man's got a chronic shoulder, he's got an elbow that just hurts forever, or a knee or something, and you're going to be on the sweat with him, but when you get him good, you're going to like what you get.
Yeah, this screams that he's lost the locker room or he's lost the ability to want to be there.
Or could be that.
And I think, to me, he's finding a way out. They're not going to sign him to a long-term deal. Let's get what we can for him when we can.
Right.
Let's not play him because if he's hurt, we have to sit him and shove him and pay him.
Yep.
And we'll actually pay him and get rid of him because we don't want him to be a part of what
it's
we're
unbelievable.
Now you look at it from a Vikings perspective. Why did we go do this? Well, first of all, you have a need. Second of all, you go take a chance in this situation to say, if we can give this guy a fresh start, a new look, a new locker room, we have different leadership, maybe we get this guy, we can get a strong 8, 9, 10 games out of him and get something out of him and try to win now. So I think it's smart. I think it's a great move. It's, like you said, almost too good to be true.
Well, there's something there. There absolutely is something there. I have no idea what it is. But just lastly, on Cam Robinson before Charch chimes in, I don't mind Quessenberry. Quessenberry in his opportunities has mostly come through, but with Hawkinson coming back, and that's so important for O'Connell, Jefferson, and the rest of the cast, it just seems to me that Robinson would be the tackle to whom you have to handcuff a tight end fewer times.
Yep.
So in other words, if we use Quest over 10 games, well, I just got Hawkinson back. I don't want to handcuff him 30% of the game to either tackle.
Right.
And Robinson has shown over the years, when he's on, you don't have to do that with him. So I think that plays into it too.
Well, he had been benched for Walker Little, so he lost his starting job. And so I think the Jaguars had, looked at this as a player they knew they were not going to bring back. He's going to be a free agent, and he was no longer a starter. And let's get something for a guy who's gonna be a bench player.
Yeah.
And he may have also relaxed a little bit after he got his big fat deal. 2021, he got a fat deal. He's been franchised. He's gotten a lot of money, and maybe he was one of those guys that got a little complacent with the money. Don't know.
And you hope he comes here with a fresh start and new mentality. Like, I'm going to go prove how good I can be.
Right, because he's heading to free agency, right?
Yeah,
so if you're going to get paid again,
he's motivated.
He should be fully motivated right now. And I got to believe, you never got benched. I got to believe for some guys, a benching has got to be a massive wake-up call. Because you never got benched in high school. You never got benched in college.
It's the fork in the road. It's the fork in the road of how are you going to take it. Because at the end of the day, you're being told you're not good enough. And now if you're self-aware, you have a bunch of people around you saying, no, you're good enough. These guys doesn't know what he's talking about. It's the coach's fault. It's this fault. Oh, well, it's actually probably your fault because you're probably not good enough. And you probably got fat cat syndrome after you're getting paid and you're not doing the things you used to do. So you hope he takes, the path less traveled and say, you know what, I got to get better.
Right.
I got to buckle down and be the pro I know I can be. And by the way, left tackles play for a long time and make a lot of money.
Yes.
So he has a bunch of years left in his game if he wants it.
Yeah, if you can go be Trent Williams, which not an inability, almost nobody can, but Trent Williams 14 years.
Andrew Whitworth.
Yeah, Whitworth.
Solid career, and he got better from years 11 to 16.
Wow.
And it was, again, time and situation, but he just understood what he did well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so did Sean McVay.
And
you know what
amen.
I mean? It's like, okay, hey, you're 88% of this HOF that you're going to be, but we need to do this in the quick game in certain situations against certain Greenways and certain rushers and things. So it's just the way things marry like that. Like I said, I don't even know if I'm right here, but like Cam Robinson, 91 starts. Quessenberry doesn't have nearly that many. So I'm assuming if I'm trying to channel my inner offensive mind, I need to handcuff tight ends fewer times to this guy than the other guy, and that's only going to help my offense.
Yeah, I think you look at a guy and say, when you're drafted the way Cam Robinson is, you're paid the way he was, it's because he's able to look at the top defensive ends in the league and say, I can take you one-on-one and we can free up our passing game.
Grey Duck vodka, Grey Duck spirits, Old Red, Grey Duck bourbon. What y'all doing this weekend?
Yeah. Nothing specifically going this weekend. Obviously, we're going to be at the Gopher game, as we always are. We'll be Sunday night, 7 p.m. Go up to the 300 level and go to the Grey Duck bar. Get yourself a cocktail. Enjoy.
My man, thank you. Hey, Chad Greenway, ladies and gentlemen, a tackling machine. Into the second hour of the presentation, some Vikings-Colts conversation, plus the fantasy football feast featuring Charch. That's coming up in the middle portion of the show. You're listening to 9 to noon from Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine. It's the Friday football feast, courtesy of KFAN.